Okay, so we're going to go over this file and see how it's structured. The way I approach the design of this hotel is basically in a kind of a modular way. If you go to level 1, you will see that these are made out of groups. Okay, I actually made the first one, which is this guy. And you can click on the group and see actually what it is made out of. If you click on Edit Group in the context ribbon, there's another group inside of it. So you can technically use nested groups as well. So all my furniture is already grouped, but then I'm also using the interior division walls, some of the doors associated to those walls, and the facade system as part of the larger group as well, right? Because these are the elements that I want to customize or I want to keep consistent throughout the project. Now the other important thing is this sign here, this X and Y axis, which specifies the center of copying or the origin of the group. So when you take a group and mirror it, you want to make sure that these actually do correspond to each other. So for instance, if I exit this group, you see that Y, the origin is here, and Y goes up, X goes in this direction. When I choose the one next to it, the origin is set here. Y goes up, X goes in this direction, right? So sometimes when you make a copy of the group and you want to rename it as something else so that you can create variations, by default, this will be set in the center of the group. And what you have to do is relocate it at the corner and mirror it so that when you make copies of it and you change the groups, they actually do change in a complementary fashion. Their origins are set the right way. So I'm going to do an example. For instance, let's create a new group. Let's say I'm going to choose this guy here, and I'm going to click Ungroup. Okay, so let's say I'm going to change something. Let's say the furniture is still grouped, but maybe I want to change the facade system a bit, right? I want to add maybe a balcony or like another window or a door to it. So I'm going to click on the floor, and let's say we create something simple here. I actually made the facade, the grid is at 15 feet. So all these facade elements are kind of, I tried to find like a unit and then use it to copy, to divide this space into equal segments so that you can alternate window and solid panels with each other. So I'm going to snap to one of these windows. So let's say we have like a balcony here at 5 feet. So it's a bit larger than a French balcony. And then I'm going to go over and capture this guy as well. And then this. Going to hit check. So now I have a balcony slab there. The next thing I'm going to do is add a railing to it. So I go to railing. I'm going to use a glass panel, and you can just simply draw the railing over the slab. Let's see if this is not positioned correctly. We can move it around. I'm going to hit check. Now we can look at it in 3D. This is basically the unit I'm modifying. Right now, so I added this feature to this group, or I'm going to make it into another group, right? So let's say this guy is glass panel. We could also make it guardrail or some other feature. It's a bit overlapping with the slab. We can offset it a bit. Let's keep it simple for now. Let's keep it glass panel. Now what I'm going to do is choose the furniture and choose all the other stuff that I want to include as a new group and create it as a new group and rename it. So let's say we add, let me actually see what I had in the group. So I had this back wall with the door and this facade wall as well with the windows, all the furniture interior divisions as well. I didn't include the floors because I'm going to show you next. The floors are made through parts so that you can create different types of hatches for the graphic representation. And when you try to include them in groups, it doesn't work. So you can only copy slabs, but when you want to include patterns as well, you want to keep them separate. Okay? So I'm going to select the furniture, and I'm going to hold my control and add other elements to this selection. So I'm going to add these interior divisions. Or another easier way to do this is to create a marquee here and grab everything we want. Let's say from left to right, the solid marquee grabs everything that it embodies, and if you do it in the other direction, it will be a dotted marquee. This is kind of a standard for any type of CAD modeling program. When you do the dotted marquee, it grabs everything that it intersects. So these are still similar for Revit. And if you have a lot of stuff that you want to go through, you can use this filter option in the contextual ribbon. So when you click on filter, it shows you everything that is in your selection, and you can take out specific elements by going through this list. So I can take out, for instance, parts, I can take out windows, I can take out views, topography, I want to keep rails, these parts, grids I want to take out, floors I want to take out, model groups I want to keep in. And when I hit apply, it goes through that setting and takes out or includes elements to my selection. So filter is when you have a selection, you have the filter option highlighted as well. So you just select something, and then there will be a filter on the context ribbon. Okay, so I'm going to do the other way. I'm going to take it from left to right, and I'm going to hold Shift to deselect the ones on the two sides. And now I have basically my new group. And I'm going to click on Create Group and rename this as Room Balcony and hit OK. Now when you create a new group, if you look at the origin, it's selected, it's created at the base or at the origin of it, like a graphic center. It finds a graphic center for the group of objects, and it sets this axis and orientation according to it, and this is really important when you make copies of that as well. So for instance, now that this is added to my groups, if you want to see all the groups in this file, you can go all the way down in the project browser. On the groups model, I have room A, room B, room C, room D. I just added room balcony, right? So I had 4 types of rooms with different panels for the facades. Now I added a 5th type. Room furniture is shared with all of those. So it's just it's actually embedded in each of these as a nested group. So I'm going to select another guy. This one. The axis and the orientation is here. Let's see what's going to happen. So if I go to model group here under properties and change it to be room balcony, it's going to shift the group over there because the origin and the orientation for that group is specified there. It's going to give me an error. So what you want to do is choose the new group that we created, this guy, and relocate this origin. So I can click and drag this here, and where I want to place it is I want it to be, this is kind of a shared shaft between adjacent units, so I'm going to place it here, and I'm going to rotate the X and Y. Let me see actually if it's Y is facing up, X is facing this way, so let me see. Let's see if this guy is Y is facing up, X is facing this way. If I do it this way, let me see if this will work. I don't know how to mirror this actually. Activate dimensions link. Let's try. Room B, balcony. Yeah, it just still shifts. We don't want that. Mirror y-axis of group origin. Yes, okay, so there's mirroring when you click on the unit. So what you want to have is, if you go here, y is facing up, x is facing left, right? So we want to have the same setting here. Y needs to face up, x needs to face up, face left. So y faces up. Then if you click here to this button, to x, it enables you to mirror it. Right, so I'm going to hit yes. So now x is mirrored. So now with that setting, if I come in here, let's say I want to reuse this module, I select this guy. Or let's select a different one, this guy. And then go down here, select room balcony. It will be applied there as a mirrored configuration, right? So technically, I can go into my 3D and choose a bunch of groups and assign them to be something else, right? So I can choose these groups in 3D. That's what I have already done. These are kind of mixed, mixture of like the 4 groups I created in this file. So I'm going to hold my control and choose some of these. And then you can go to the properties, and then I'm going to choose room balcony. Repetitive and like it's like a unit or a module that you create and you want to use it, right, throughout the project.
When you want to copy something that's in several levels, you want to copy all the levels. The only way to do this in 3D, you cannot do it on the plan.
No, you can't. You can do it on the plan. The way I did this was I created level 1. I created this kind of arrangement. I mixed it up a bit. Then I chose everything and then replicated to 3 other floors. If you remember, the way to copy the floors was you just select everything, copy to clipboard. When you have that, you have repeating floors, right? And if you want to mix it up, you can choose them in 3D and then shift them, and then change the group type basically. So you can do that in 3D. Okay, so try to create a new group by creating a variation. If you want, you can do it in your own file as well. The way I approached the variations was not actually changing the internal organization or layout as much, but mostly changing the facade. So, but you can do the same through adding another bed or adding another type of furniture as well. It's totally doable. Okay, let's give it a quick look, and then I'll. Okay, so something new. The way to change these floor patterns is by using the parts tool under modify. So you create, let's say, like an overall floor slab for something, and you want to create internal divisions. Let's do a quick example. So I'll just create something here. I'm just going to model. Let's go to level 5 actually, or level 4. So I already have a floor slab all the way on top. So what I want to do is maybe differentiate kind of these corridors from these floor areas. So the way you want to do is select the floor slab that you just created. While it's selected, let me see. This actually doesn't show me the parts. Let me create a new one. Let's say I create a rectangle here. Okay, so let's say you have a floor slab and you want to create internal divisions. You go to under modify, there's create parts option. Let's look at the video, if there's a video. So what it does is it basically enables you to separate built-in elements of a component or create custom divisions as well. So in this case you can also choose a composite wall and separate layers of it. But in our case, we want to create divisions for this. So I'm going to choose divide parts, and then in the divide parts option, you can see that everything else is grayed out, and this is kind of the active window. And we are in the sketch mode. So in the sketch mode, you want to draw kind of lines to differentiate or to divide the slab. So I'm going to do edit sketch, and let's say I want to have a division like this. I want to have another division maybe like this, And you want to create these lines kind of with kind of an overlap around the edges so that Revit can project them onto the object and find the intersections and divisions. And let's say we create another one like this here. I'm going to hit check. And if they turn to green, that means they are fully or successfully intersected with the host object. And I'm going to hit check again. Now these are separated parts of the actual slab. So I can select individual ones. And when this guy, I just selected this guy on top. If you go to the properties, it says material by original. That means it's sharing the same material as the original slab that we just divided. You can deselect that and give it a new material. So it could be, let's say, tile. Right. So I'm going to type in tile here. This is the material editor, but it also controls some graphic representations. So I'm going to choose tile porcelain. And here we have a surface pattern associated to it. So it says H in tile. We can change it to be something else as well. So you can use 4-inch tile or blocks, let's say 4-inch tile. You can also click on edit, create a variation of it, and save it. So you can create your different types of patterns as well. I'm going to hit OK, hit apply, and hit OK. And let's see if it's going to show. So what I want to do now, wait, it didn't apply. Why is it not showing? Maybe it's because of the view range. So sometimes it doesn't show the pattern because it's not capturing the parts that are located under the slab. So if that's the case, what you want to do is go to view range for this floor plan and change the view depth so that you start seeing the pattern. But let me see if I can fix this. Apply 0. Now they're actually gone out of the site, so I'm going to do -1, -1, apply. No, they're actually visible. Why aren't we seeing it? Parts 1, edit division, exclude parts. Let me try another one. Material by original. See, this is going to be wood. Cherry, horizontal, small. Well, this one worked. I don't know why the other one didn't work. But basically, you can select the segment or the part of it and do the same thing. Go to properties, material by original, deselect that, and give it a new material, and it will use the graphic standard for that one. I'll do this one as well. Material by original, deselect it. Huh? The graphics or the pattern? I'm trying to add pattern to the floor slab divisions. So this one, let's make it something else. Let's say it's brick. Yeah, some of them don't work for some reason. Let me see. Huh? Good question. Maybe through the material. Let's say cherry. This is horizontal. If we click on this one, click on edit, there's line angle. Let's try 90. Hit OK. OK. Now it's vertical. Okay. Say what? When you zoom all the way in, it shows. Oh yeah. My bad. Oh, because of the interval of the pattern, it's so dense. It just doesn't preview it. I didn't realize how big the floor slab I generated was. It's pretty big, so you need to see it pretty close up. Okay, but all these patterns are generated that way. So the way you can approach it is by first creating the overall floor slab, and then you can select everything. Again, go to filter. Right, you can check none and just leave out floors and parts. This floor slab is already divided, so I'm just going to leave floors and parts. Hit apply. Okay. Actually, sorry, the other way around. So I'm going to choose this filter, check none, or check all, and deselect floors and parts. Hit apply. Hit OK. Now everything else out of that, outside of floors and slabs, will be chosen, and then you can go to temporary hide isolate. I could have also done isolate, but I'm going to do hide. So I'm going to do hide element, and those will be hidden. So now you can work on those floor slabs, right? So you can choose. You can first add the divisions, then choose all of them at the same time, give them a pattern. Right, and these are all parts of this overall floor slab, basically. Okay, and then once you're done with this, you can just do reset temporary hide isolate, and they will be brought back. So in 2013, the parts, when you try to include them in groups, it causes some problems. But I haven't tried in 2015. Maybe it may work. Maybe they have fixed that. So you can try creating a slab, like for your units, adding already divided parts in it with patterns, and then try copying them and see if that works. Yeah. How can you make the walls? Let me see. So you mean like these? How do you want to make them attached to the... Oh, good question. Yeah, I had that issue as well. It doesn't recognize the height change, right? So it just... yes, so you have to add it to group, right? Well, like I would probably look for it in the forums if there's a fix for it. There may be a trick, but otherwise, if you're changing your floor heights, might as well go through each group and change the total wall heights in that group as well to make it fit. I think that would be like a more practical fix for now. But of course, you want to make them go together. But when it's a group, you have to realize it's basically like as a container, right? It doesn't recognize the adjacent units as much around it. Okay, so let's create some floor slabs. Play with the division. So the way I did was create. Go to architecture, create a wall, create a floor, and then once you're in the floor, create like a rectangle floor. After you create the floor, go to create parts, divide parts, edit sketch, draw some lines to divide it up, and then choose the selections. And so I'll do this again. Create like a diagonal division. So now I can choose one of those and override the material. So go to properties, material by original, deselect it, and then choose kind of a different material with a different pattern, so you can kind of separate them. And the nice thing of this is of course, like you can change the hosting element, which is the floor slab. and then you can basically stretch some of the corners, but be careful, because if you stretch an edge that doesn't have the division line on it, it may start giving you an error. So I can basically, my division line was added here, so I can basically stretch this end of the floor slab. So I'm going to choose the floor slab, go to edit boundary. I can stretch this edge, and the parts will move along with it. But if I do the same stretching to the other edge, it will do it until the division line is not there anymore, right? Right, so because the division line, where's the division? Edit division, edit sketch. So this line you may have to stretch it as well, so that it captures the stretching. Okay, I'm going to delete these. If you're just creating a new file and then you're trying to create divisions, you may not be able to see the parts, because normally parts visibility, it's set to be show original. So even though you may be creating parts, you won't be able to see them. So you need to either choose show parts or show both, so that you can see your divisions. The other thing is you need to go to view range, and sometimes, by default these are set to be 0, and when they're set to 0, the view range doesn't capture the parts that belong to an object, especially for the floor slab, because they're kind of layered behind the original object. So you need to set this to, you need to decrease this value so that your view range captures more. I don't know why they structured this way, but that's how, the Revit experts explain it as well. The view range is basically sets the height of where you're cutting the drawing, and then sets the depth of how much you're looking into the drawing, right? So if you think of, and I'm just going to create a simple building, and we're going to work on creating some stairs. So I'll go to architectural template. I'm going to go to an elevation. Actually, this should be okay. Go to level 1. Just create a wall. You can do this in your project as well. And these guys, I want them to go all the way up to level 2. Go to floor, pick lines, and I'm going to choose the 4 sides, and then choose everything I have just done. Copy to clipboard, paste, align to selected levels to level 2. So basically I have a simple 2-story building. Then I go to level 2. I'm going to choose this floor slab, go to edit boundary. I'm going to push this in a bit so that we have a double height here and create some stairs there, okay? I'm going to do unjoin elements, so let's do it. If you have issues like this, because I just moved the slab, you can choose the wall. Go to attach top base. It's similar to how we extended the walls to the roofs, right? You can do attach top base and choose the wall above it, and then it will extend it until they collide, right? So attach top base, choose the element above it. Alright, so I go to level 1 now. Now I want to see level 2 here. So the way to see that would be to place it as an underlay. So I'm going to go to underlay and do level 2 and apply. And if you want to also draw the overhanging elements above each floor, you may want to draw it using dashed lines. So you can go to let me see, the model line, hidden, pick lines, and you can do that. Yeah. So you can basically draw it as a model line. So you can go to architecture. This is not an object, it's just a graphic line. So you choose model line, and line style I'm going to choose hidden. Hidden is basically a dashed line setting. And I'm going to choose pick lines, and choose the floor slab that is overhanging the current floor plan, and lock that relationship. And what it does is basically it adds a dashed line there representing the overhanging floor, right? And then if I move it, I'm going to hit yes, unjoin. If I move it, the dashed line will move with it because I established also a constraint when I created it, right? I locked that relationship. So it's following the floor slab above our head now. And let's create our basic stair. So I'm going to go to stair. And stairs are actually made out of a couple of components. There's a run component, landing component, support, and railing. You start with the run, and Revit is pretty automatic in calculating the amount of risers you need to place in the drawing, and it also helps you place them. So if you look at the basic settings, we have 7-inch maximum riser and 11-inch tread for the default staircase, and there's already a set number which is at 18, so we can put 18 risers for now. And it calculates the riser height by dividing the floor height into equal segments. So let's start placing it. So I go to run, and I'm going to start here, go down, and it starts previewing me the stair layout. And it also shows me how many risers I've created and how many are remaining. So I'm going to do, let's say, symmetrical staircase. I'm going to place 9 risers here. Then if I stop there, I need a landing here, but you don't have to place the landing. You can keep placing the risers. So I'm going to come in here and go in the other direction. Revit automatically connects them as with a landing. And these are dynamic objects, so you can technically increase the widths as well. So you can select this this first riser, click on this dimension, change its width. You can also change these under properties. So if you go to the properties of the riser, there's actual run width there. You can iterate through the elements using tab. So I can choose the landing, and I can also stretch the landing. Let's do 4 feet here as well. So I have 4 feet on both sides and a 5-foot landing. I can also do align. Basically, if you type in align, AL for align, under modify tool, align, you can align this side to this side, lock that relationship, and move this over there too. I'm going to do MB. You can move it there. You can change the offset from the wall. Let's say it's going to be 6 feet. So I can basically create a stair. Once this is done, I can hit check, and my staircase is drawn accordingly. So it's basically the dashed line shows what's not cut with the floor slab height. The floor plan drawing height. And then we have an up sign and an arrow as well. If you want to take out the up sign, you can choose the staircase. Go to. Actually, you can just select the up sign. You can turn it off. You can also turn off the down arrow, and then the orientation is for it, I think. So you can hit apply, so you can hide it in the drawing. Okay, so basically we can you can create any type of staircase now. Like go to stair again. We can do like an L shape. So I can go this way. Let's say 5 risers. Then we can get funky with this too. So you can go a little bit here, go a little bit there, or maybe this goes in here. So the nice thing is you just stop adding and then keep adding. But by the time you added all the risers for the staircase, you need to exit the staircase so that you can create a new one. Because if you're still active in this staircase and keep putting risers somewhere else, it will try to connect them. Okay. So you need to think of this as a single object. What else? Let's look at the other one. So if you go to stair again, we can create a full step spiral. So there's a preview for that as well. It just does. You choose a location for the center, and then the radius. And depending on the radius, it just recalculates how much it has to go around. Technically, you would need a bit of landing for these stairs as well. So I'm just going to go, let's say 3 feet, and create something like this. And then I'm going to move this corner here, and then I'm going to do rotate. Shortcut is RO, and when you type in rotate, there's a center of rotation and an angle of rotation, and you want to move the center of rotation to a point where you want to move the staircase from. So I'm going to move it from this end point, draw this line to be the final step, and then align it with the floor slab so that it starts here and goes in this direction. Okay, the next one we could do, this one is similar to the spiral, but spiral works with center and radius. This one works with specifying a center and a starting point so that you can stretch it or make it a bit more precise. There's also these guys, L-shaped window, U-shaped window. This already comes in built in because it doesn't have any landing. So you can use the space bar to rotate it. So I'm going to put it there. You can also create a staircase that connects 2 floors in your project and just copy them up vertically when you're creating other floors, right? So now we have these going up to the other floor. So the nice thing is these are already calculated because we have a floor they are going to be hosted at and another floor they're going to go to. So if you choose a staircase element, go to edit type. There are some calculation rules here that are embedded, but you can override these formulas as well. And you can also choose different dimensions for the heights and the treads. But be careful, because when you mess around with these, the number of steps and the calculations starts to get messy. So what I realize is it's normally the best when you have Revit automating that process for you, so that you just stretch the floor heights and then you get more steps added to your stairs, basically. I'm going to show you how you can customize these objects as well. So you can choose the stairs, and let's say you want to change, let's look up this one for instance. Let's say you want to change the side panel here. You can choose the staircase, go to edit type, and we have all the different objects that make the staircase as well, like the railing, the side panels, the steps. And here I have right support. There's a stringer, and we could basically turn it into a profile object, like a C channel profile, like a steel. Then I'm going to hit apply, hit OK. Now this guy is the side panel is replaced with a C-shaped steel, and then I want to also change. I want to flip its section profile so it faces the other direction. So I'm going to hit apply, hit OK. Now I've replaced the side with steel. You can do the same thing to the railings as well. So you can choose the railing and choose its type to be, let's say, guardrail pipe. You can do the same here. Yeah. Let's see. If you go to edit type, there's a top rail height here. You can increase or decrease it depending on your project. You can also change some of the features, some of the profiles. So these are all objects, right? So we can control the section profiles as well as the dimensions of it. I mean, of course, there's an unlimited amounts of variation, but they just come in with some presets. And later on, when we get to families, if you want to create your own staircase railing, you'll be able to add another profile here or another dimension. I'm going to hit OK. Now, railings are also separate objects, so you may want to also add them to the floors. So I'm going to go to level 2. If you come in here, architecture railing is here, and this is sketch-based object. So you can basically draw it. So you can come in here. So say you go in like 2 inches, and then you can go this way. That's the railing, but you may want to match them as well. So you can choose the stair, the railing, and then go to guardrail pipe. So now their heights match. Just like this is a sketch-based object, the stairs could be created by sketches as well. So if you, for instance, choose, let's say I delete that one. If you choose this guy, this railing, and you go to, maybe you don't want to have railing on this side of the staircase, you can go to Edit Path, and you can delete the line segments where you don't want the railing to be. And although these are drawn on the plan, since they're hosted on the slabs of the stairs, they're projected onto the risers, right? So you can just, if you delete these floor, these lines on the floor, and hit check, what it does is it removes those segments that you don't want to use or include. It's the same thing for, like you can also do the same thing for these, because maybe we want the stair to be attached to the wall on this side, so I can choose these elements. And then let's see if we can section profile default. Can we actually get rid of them? Let me see. Well, we actually do need the support. So let's say we choose this guy, this riser, go to Edit Type, and we include a middle support for it. And you can turn on or off the left and right support here. So left support you can do none, right support, let's say none as well. And when you hit apply, you will get rid of the panels on both sides, and instead you will have support in the middle. And there was something else as well that I want to show, which is to get rid of the risers. So you can choose this guy. Let me see. Yeah, so you may want to disable the riser. So if you deselect the riser, hit apply, hit OK, the riser panels will be taken out as well. So you can also customize the stairs in this fashion. Okay. So what I did was I replaced the panels on both sides by choosing the overall staircase, going to Edit Type. I took off the left and right support, so they were there was like a stringer, and the stringer type was a C profile, but I made them into none, and I instead added a middle support, which is this other additional element that runs in the middle of the riser. Then I hit OK. Then you can choose one of these segments for the risers. So you can choose this one and go to Edit Type. So one of the runs, and then I took out the risers as well. which is the vertical panels in between these steps. Okay, so you can create your own stairs this way. The other option is to let's see if this is going to work. So you can choose this railing, go to edit path, and you can, I think you can add, you can increase, let's see, so you can make it connected as well. So you remember how I took out this side of the railing? Similarly, I can make it continuous on this side, or I can make it continuous on this side as well. So I can choose this inner railing, go to edit path, hit the line, and continue the sketch. And go to the wall. You can do this in the plan view as well, and hit check. So now it will continue, make it connected. You can make them separate as well by including railings, but they won't be connected on these joints. But you can also edit them by adding more lines to the sketches, right? So you can choose the railing, go to edit path, and add these segments there so that they are connected. Alright? So create some stairs, mess around with these customization tools, play with the railings, so extend them to the floor slab, make them continuous. Just going to delete these for now. Go to stair, run, and let's say this is a linear element, hit check. So I'm going to choose, well, the other thing is these are also following the same type. So every time I was doing edit type, I was changing the type properties. So since I've created these other stairs using the same type as well, their properties are changing as well, right? But if you want to create one custom staircase, for instance, for the units that you're creating, and you want the one for the floors to be different, like the stairwells, you need to create a variation. So you need to create a new type. So I can choose this new guy I created, go to edit type, and duplicate it, and rename it. Call it steel stairs. Hit OK. Now this will be a new type. So any type of variation I do to this, the others wouldn't take effect from it. So I can basically choose a staircase, go to edit type. I want to now take out the middle support, include a stringer on the left and right, hit apply, and now the stringer would be a C-section steel, and I want to also change the railings. So I go to edit the railing, handrail pipe. Let's do it on both sides. Right, so that will be my stair. And if this is intersecting with your floor slab, you can edit your floor slab as well. Go to level 2, and you can choose the floor slab, go to edit boundary. You can take out this portion, right? So you can just trace wherever the floor slab is intersecting, and then update the boundary again. So now I can also go inside the floor, right? So that's kind of the stair I was drawing. Okay. One last thing I want to show about the stairs, you can also do them using sketches. So if you choose any stair you created, I would first recommend you to play around with it by starting with an actual staircase. You can choose it, go to edit stairs, choose the run, and under the modify ribbon here, there's convert to sketch based. So once you do this type of conversion, you'll be able to edit the individual lines of the risers and the threads. But this is an irreversible process, and Revit tells you that as well. So if you convert it, Component sketch base is reversible. Then you can do edit sketch. And the nice thing about here, the nice thing here is the risers, the threads, and the run is all represented with different sketch-based objects in different colors. So if you edit one of them, the remaining elements will be adjusted accordingly. So I can choose this side and maybe stretch it here, and then hit check, and each riser will be modified accordingly, right? I can also again go to edit sketch, modify individual risers, so you can switch to riser here and literally sketch it out. So you can make it, let's say, an arc. And what I want to do is delete this guy, maybe delete this guy as well, so I need to include another one. So maybe this guy goes from here. I need to switch to riser. So I draw another arc here. Maybe this, it's like Gone with the Wind type of stairs, right? And then you need to connect the stair path to the first riser as well, and then hit check. Revit will calculate those and model you a new staircase in 3D. Right? So because these are all hosted objects, you can customize them. You can create like deconstructed stairs as well. But I would always recommend you to start with an existing one. So like I can also do it to this guy. I can choose this guy, edit stairs, choose one of the risers and do convert. You can also do the landings as well. And then I'm going to go to level 1. So I can choose this guy and do edit sketch. And maybe I want it to be something like this. Well, right. You can go as fancy as you want. Right, so now my landing is updated. I can do the same thing to this guy, edit sketch. Maybe this guy's here. And I mean, you can make it funky too, but let's see if this works. I mean, it's not a realistic staircase, but I'm just showing you how you can customize it. Right, so that's the staircase. Oh, it's giving me an issue here actually. Yeah. What were you saying? For the pipes? Well, you can import other railing types. You can download them online as well. Or you can create your own family too and use it for your project. So we're going to look at those later, like custom family objects. I mean, I may let you like play around with the ramps. Actually, it's pretty straightforward too. If you go to ramp, it works the same way. There's a run, a boundary, and a riser. So let's create one there. It's basically the ramp, right? And if you choose it, let's take out these labels. You can change the width of it. Edit type. There's thickness for the slab of it for customization, so you can make it like 6 inches. Maximum incline length, and there's slope calculation here too. So if you want to make it steeper, you need to change this value, right? So 1/12 is kind of like the Villa Savoye type of ramp. But if you want to make it steeper, you can make it, let's say 1/10. And if your second floor is at 10 feet, that means you need 100 feet. You need 100 feet for ramp basically to get there. Right, this will increase the slope of it. And they also do have a maximum incline length, which basically is how long you can go on the ramp without a landing. You can also change this to be like 50, and then you can create 2 ramps to go up to 100 feet, to go to 10 feet high. So I'm going to make this 50. Hit apply, hit OK. Let's see. Let's choose this guy. Do create similar. Now I can create a 50 feet ramp, basically. And I'm going to go to the other side and go this way. And it connects them with the landing as well. And I'm going to hit check. Look at it in 3D. So that will reach the 2nd floor. Right? Because I override the slope as well as the maximum run. Otherwise, what you have to do is calculate how much ramp length you need, and then create landings at each interval. I mean, there are some probably standards and rules for this, but for your projects, you can do something like this. Okay? Something really simple. That's basically it. Stairs groups. So let's go back to the other file I had. I'm going to close these. If you have tons of clutter here, like lots of windows, and you want to actually take them out, you can go to View. Like, let's say you can open this guy, like one of them, and then do Close Hidden Windows. And when you minimize it, you'll get rid of a lot of those additional drawings. Because every time you're double-clicking on one of these views in the project browser, you're opening up a new window. And that basically creates a lot of clutter. So I'm going to close this file.
Will that slow down the project if you have a lot of those windows open?
Well, I mean, it may, but it's also like if you want to find a specific drawing, then you have to find that view. I'm going to call this stairs and close it. The other option is if you open, let's say you're doing a manipulation on a floor plan and you want to see how it takes effect in 3D, you can open the 3D view here as well, and you can tile these. So you can go to View, and under next to Close Hidden, there's Tile Windows option, and it will just divide what your viewport is into 2, so that you can look at those 2 drawings side by side, right? So whatever object you choose here, you'll be able to see it in 3D or in the other view as well. So what I wanted to show you, let me show you the next assignment. So if you go to this project file, the hotel, the floor plans are already created, basically. So if you go to level 1, what I did was there are different types of controls for how objects are drawn or drafted in Revit. So first thing is we can go to Manage Object Styles. This is where we set up line weights for specific objects, and these settings are actually project, like they're project-wide settings. So if you want to override how floors are drawn, like the line weights or the line colors as well, if you override those settings here, those settings will take effect to all the drawings that you prepare afterwards. So these are project-wide settings for some of the graphic styles, or line weights for the elements. So like if I go to floors, the floors are overall drawn with line weight 2 for projection and line weight 5 for cut elements, right? So if you think it's too light, you can make it darker here by increasing it, or you can make it thinner by decreasing it. You can change the line color here as well. Yes? This is under Manage Object Styles. Okay? The other thing is view specific overrides. So that's that you can control under visibility and graphics. So this is what we have done already. So if you go to edit here and go down, so what I have done already is I'm seeing the topography drawing on this floor plan drawing, but it's the halftone is enabled, which basically makes it grayish, lighter. So if I take that out and hit apply and hit OK, it will go back to its original like black graphics style. But what I wanted to do is make it lighter because I want the emphasis to be on the floor slab. So what I did was I override it in the visibility and graphics for this specific viewport, and I made it halftone. I also did the same for the walls. I included a cut pattern, and I included black parquet and a solid fill. So you can again change the color of it here. Like you can make it magenta. You can also change any type of pattern, but I would like you to use something simple and elegant, like either a solid fill or a white fill with thicker lines, right? That's kind of what we mostly use. If you hit apply, hit OK, you basically have that setting overwritten for that view only. Yes, because when I switch to level 2, it has its own visibility and graphics settings, right? These are view specific settings that I'm overriding. Now when I go to sheets, if you remember we created some sheets last time, and I'm importing this drawing here. You may want to like change some of the features of this embedded drawing in this sheet. So maybe it's too large, or maybe it doesn't fit. So let's create something new. So I'm going to create a new sheet here. New sheet. And I'm going to use, I created a custom sheet, 11 by 17 with no title blocks. So it's something empty like this. I'm going to bring in level 2 set. Level 3 is not edited, it's minimally edited. So let's bring level 3. So I'm going to go to A104 and then choose level 3 and click and drag here. And this drawing is already too large for this viewport. I mean, the scale is too large, so it doesn't fit, right? So I'm going to choose the viewport, go to view scale, and decrease it until I get a scale that fits into it. So I'm going to switch to 332 equals 1 foot. Hit apply. This is still large. I'm going to make it 1/16 equals 1 foot, and this seems to be fitting. Now I'm going to move this somewhere on my sheet, and I'm going to activate the view. And what it does is it basically will enable me to make some additions or manipulations to the drawing. So I can change some elements, or I can add some crops to the viewport as well. So maybe if you are drafting the whole, if you're drafting the whole site model or site drawing, you don't want to show all the site plan. You want to crop some of it. You can do it by going to the properties of the view and enable crop view and annotation crop here. And you want to make them visible as well. So you want to check all of these, hit apply. Now this will bring you these two windows. So the solid one will filter out the drawing itself, the model elements. The dashed line will filter out annotation related elements. So if there are dimensions here, you can filter those out, or if there are elevation marks, you can filter those out as well, right? So you may not want to show them. So if they intersect with these annotation crops, they'll be taken out. I still want to see the section so it's visible. Yeah. Yes, it's going to change because it's active right now. I'm editing the viewport, right? And I'm going to, once you're done, you can double click outside of the viewport and your viewport is basically filtered. That's how I did this floor plan drawing on A101. So I already shifted it a bit. I can still select it, go to activate view, And when it's activated, you can see that my view crop is all the way up here. I'm going to move it inside a bit. And you can kind of filter out the rest of the drawing, right? And double click, and it's set. And I included a text here. These normally come with their own text labels. If you go to edit type, show title, show extension line, and title, view title, hit apply. By default, they come with these, but I personally don't prefer them. So what I do is I choose the view that's associated to, go to edit type, take out the extension line, which is this ridiculous horizontal line, and disable view title, and write your own scale and name of the floor plan drawing, okay, or the name of the drawing. So you choose the viewport. This is a viewport, right? I'm clicking and dragging a view so that I'm getting kind of a reference to it. I'm creating a reference. So I can access it from here as well. So this sheet could be actually like a big 36 by 60 inch big board, and I can have multiple drawings associated to it, and each time I'm updating them, those drawings will be updated as well. I did the same thing for the section. Sections are really easy to create, so I already created one here. If you double click, I think on the either on the side, if you double click on the marker, it prompts you to the section. But similar settings for the section I did. I basically went to visibility and graphics. This time you want to include pochés for floors, roofs, and walls, right? For all the elements that you're cutting. So I added the same poché for all of those. You can add halftones for elements that you don't want to show, maybe furniture. So let's do that actually. My furniture should be all black. Maybe I want to make them lighter. So I can go all the way up. Furniture is here. I want to make them halftone. Apply. Okay. So let's see which ones are.
It doesn't matter if they're in a group.
Huh?
It doesn't matter if it's
No, it doesn't matter. Like it registered the bed as furniture, but it didn't register the plumbing, like the fixtures and everything else. So you need to find the categories they belong to and make them halftone as well, right? So these guys, I need to remember what they were. Let's say fixtures. I think it was in plumbing. Plumbing fixtures, I can make them halftone. Hit apply, okay. So now these will be grayed out as well. Countertops belong to some other family, so you need to make them halftone as well if you want to make them lighter. But technically I'm cutting this counter, so might want to make it still black, right? But this is an elevation, so it could be lighter. I included a really light shadow. Shadows are optional for sections. You can include them or not. And to include them, you go to graphic display options, and you turn on shadows here. And for me, I kept them really light. So under lighting, shadows are like at 10. And I also changed the sun setting a bit, so that I get I get nice shadows here. So you don't cover too much of the room, right? You don't want to add a gray. You don't want to make the back wall as full gray with a shadow. You want to also show kind of gray and white. So you can change it from here. This, I think I've already shown this. The other important thing is, let's make another section. Let me go over the elevation first. The elevations are already here. So we have 4 elevations. And if you go all the way down, elevation views are set here. If you, by accident, delete one of these, you can add them under view, elevation. This is basically how you add your orthographic drawings. You can add a section here, plan views here, and elevations here. If you want to access them, you can double click on any of them, and it will prompt you to the corresponding viewport. And for these, I want you to, I think I created the north elevation, but for these I want you to include shadows. So you can turn on under graphic display, you can add some shadows, and make sure your whole facade is not in shade, so you just have a little bit of shadow like this one, right? So you show depth of the elements. And if you want to override how the topography is drawn, That's actually not controlled here, but under massing and site. So if you go to massing and site, model site, you click on this drop down button, and here you can control the topography options. So for me, the topography uses section cut material as grass, and you need to access that material's properties to override the grass. Let me see where that is. So grass is here. Let me see if I've overwritten anything else here under visibility and graphics. I actually have another override here too under topography. I have a fill pattern here too, so you can like edit another fill. Let's say make it lighter gray. Hit OK. Solid fill. Hit OK. Or you can make it like diagonal lines. Let's make it diagonal lines. Wood finish, diagonal up small. It's barely visible because it's gray. I can make it a bit darker. Right, so you can also control basically graphic style of topography under visibility and graphics. So I'm going to choose it again. Edit. Let's make it black. Okay. The cut floors don't have a poche. I actually have a building pad here that I could add a poche, and these walls as well. So I mean, this is not a completed drawing, but basically that's how you should approach customizing these views. Huh? The elevation cut is you can control it on the plan view, right? So there's if you go to the viewports, this is the location of the elevation. So there will be a plane here that is cutting all the modeling and looking to the building. And if you want to add, let's make another section. Go to view, section. Let's say we want to cut here. You can place a section. Once you place it, it's already created under project browser. I have section 2. You can change the direction of it using these arrows. So you can look to left or right. You could also control the depth of your look, right? So this is kind of similar to the view range I was talking about in plan views. So you may want to see like the buildings behind your drawing or other types of features. Maybe the building is at an angle, so there's like a portion of it here, and you may want to see it or include it in the drawing as well. And then I go to section 2, and this is kind of what I start working with. So I see all my elements. Some of these might be overlapping, and you may want to change their change how they overlap. So for instance here, I can see that these walls overlap. So I can choose this guy, and most of the time what you're going to use in section views is align tool. So you can go to align. You want to align this line to this line so that that collision is resolved, right? So these walls overlap here. There's another one here. You can push it down so you get rid of that intersecting line, right? So this wall goes from the bottom of the floor to the top. I mean, you can put it up as well. Same thing here. I would probably do it here too. And if you want to start differentiating between elements in elevation and elements in section, you go to visibility and graphics and override those properties for this view. So I would override the cut walls. Let's say we want to use red and solid fill, and floors. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do red and solid fill. Hit OK, apply, hit OK. So you start customizing them, right? Yeah. You can do that for this assignment. Sure, no problem. Here? Yeah, you may want to change them actually. You may be able to join them. Let me see if it's doable. You can join. If you join them, let's see if it still has it. Normally you would join it, but I have groups, so I need to see how I can fix that. Like maybe there's a second floor there, or the parts overlap. Normally when you go to join and you choose this element and that element, it joins them together. If not, you can just keep them as pochade for now. Okay. What else? I want to also show one last thing with the view cube. If you go to 3D, you can do these sorts of graphic overrides in 3D as well. So let's say I want to create an axonometric plan view or a section view of this project. I'm going to right click to my 3D and choose duplicate, and I get a copy of the 3D. I'm going to rename this as, let's call it Plan Axon. I'm going to hit OK. In this viewport, I'm going to change the visual style from realistic to shaded. Or let's make it hidden. Let's make it hidden. I think it will look better. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to do is enable the section box. The section box is this box with arrows on all sides that controls me how to filter information in this view. If you don't see it, you can go to the properties of the viewport and click check on next to the section box. It will basically bring it up. Right, so that's an active element that cuts through the model. And I'm going to choose the section box, and using these arrows I'm going to move in the project, and you can basically start cutting into the project. Right, so I'm cutting through the corridor now. Maybe I cut through the stairs, or I can cut through maybe the other corridor. Right, I can also do it two-way. I can also cut it in this direction as well. So maybe I cut it in this view and this view. I can also cut it in the plan view too. So if I move this down, I can also cut it. I'm also cutting the topo. So let's say I don't want to cut through the topo, but I want to cut through the plan here at this height. Well, it's a bit low. Let's make it a bit higher. Yeah, this looks good. So then what I want to do is go back to my plan axon and go to visibility and graphics, and you can include pochades here too to override the graphic styles, right? So I can do a fill color for the topo, a fill color for the walls, floors, same stuff. So magenta, solid fill, that's walls. So I can do the same for the floors. So I can basically add those pochades there. Let me see why it's not doing it here. That's a part. This is a part. Well, let's see. Visibility and graphics. Floors. Well, let's do the same to the parts as well. I think it's yeah, some of these are parts, so that's why it wasn't highlighting them. So you can add pochades as well. Okay? And then if you want to save this as a view, you can prepare it, like you can filter it from this side as well. So you can come in a bit more. Come in a bit more. So let's say this is the view. You can use the view cube to snap it to like an angle. So let's say in this case we want to do this corner, or you can do this view, which is kind of a tilted orthographic. That won't actually work as well as much. But you can use the orbit, shift right click to orient it. So maybe we are looking at the project at an angle like this. I also have shadows added from the graphic display. You can change the sun angle. And once you want to save this as an image to the project, you can right click to the viewport and go to create view, save to project as an image, and then here you want to give it a name. So let's say plan Axon, and you can increase the resolution. Let's say 5000. Hit OK. I already gave it, let's say 2. Current view. And it should be added under renderings here. So on the project browser we also have renderings. This will be an image. And you can also place it on the sheets.
Can you say the view that you're looking at, if you start, or you're trying to render it with like a camera?
Yes. Yes, we're going to look into those when we do renderings later. So you can place cameras as well. And they will be updated too.
Just right now, the angle we have right now, can we set that view or save that view?
Oh, sure. It's already saved. It's that's what this is. Plan Axon, right? Every time I want to access it, I can go here.
You start moving and you come back.
Oh yeah, this will be updated because the tree. Don't forget that's like a view-specific override and styles and section box movement, like all that stuff I'm making. It's registered for that view. The other view doesn't have that, right? I also made another one with a shaded style. So if you go to rendered images, if you go to Plan Axon, I've also made this one previously. It's basically the same stuff, right? There's a little bit of shadow, poche for the cut elements, and this one is shaded. Okay, any questions for today? So this is basically the preliminary foundational stuff, but we're going to keep using these tools. So every time, if you have any more questions that come up, we can keep working on these or visit these settings again. But from tomorrow I'm going to start on families, like Revit families. And the next assignment will be probably asking you to do custom furnitures for one of the additional programs for your project. So it could be a lobby, it could be like a shop or a restaurant located in the building. Okay, so you'll be doing mostly like an interior design. You can also do the same for your units. So you'll be able to model custom furniture for them. Okay.